You are listening to episode 292 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John. I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we repeatedly beat a head against a wall in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we're playing a little bit of Dead Cells on PlayStation 4. Not any other Dead Cells, just Dead Cells. I think there's several versions now, right?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of expansions and crossover content and stuff. It's been a wildly successful indie game, but we will get to that a little bit later on. This week, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct for June 2024 and everything that we liked about that. Then Matt Booty tries to make up some more business talk about what happened at Tango Gameworks. And lastly, rumors amiss. PS3 may be incoming to your PS5 soon.
All super exciting stuff. But first, before we get to the episode, you can find us on thegamedeflators.com, our currently out-of-date website. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. We're also on YouTube. Go check us out there. And you're listening to a podcast on a podcast app. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get into some pickups. Yeah, I got no pickups. So nothing on my end this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what about the magic cards that I got you?
Okay, true. But that is payment is received from last week.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the same. I mean, like, if I give you $20, that wouldn't be a pickup. But these are new magic cards that you didn't have before.
All true. We'll have to crack open packs and see if there's anything worthwhile in there. Maybe the $20.
They were my packs, so they won't be. There will be nothing good in there.
See, so $20 would probably have been a better pickup. But no, so that's what I've got as far as pickups. Magic cards that I got literally like an hour and a half ago. So, but as far as what I'm currently playing, I'm still playing Alundra on the PlayStation 1 as my new games resolution. And God, man, I was just telling the guys on the PlayStation 8 Dead podcast because I was on there Friday.
I know, I had to miss it.
Yeah, it was a fun time. It's a fun time with Will and the others.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah,
for the invite.
Yeah, we'll have to go back on there, have you on as well, and I'm self-inviting myself, to go back on with you. I think they'll appreciate that.
There we go.
Yeah, unless it was really bad and they're just like, no, screw that guy, we're never having him on again.
They'll just have me on instead.
Yeah, maybe. But we did a lot of picking on Will, which was fantastic. So go check out that episode. It was a good bit of time. So I was telling him, I'm not a huge fan of this game. Like, the story's good. Like, I'm enjoying the story component, but the dungeon aspect of it, there's just the monotony of having to
run back and forth,
save points, and then just like, okay, cool, I just completed something. Well, let me go back to the save point within the dungeon just to make sure, which is now backtracking even further each time. So a lot of backtracking. The platforming isn't even that great. The puzzles are kind of like, okay, whatever, like. And it's crazy, like the puzzles aren't even like frustratingly difficult puzzles. They're fairly easy. It's just the platforming aspect of the game is actually fairly difficult. So it just adds to stress of like, oh my God, like I know what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm supposed to jump from this particular ledge to that ledge. And I know that there's nothing else to support me platforming wise to get from point A to point B. You just have to be pinpoint perfect.
Yeah, those PS1, not a platforming challenges.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big issue for me is that in particular. But, otherwise I do enjoy the story. I'm happy I'm playing it, getting it out of the way, and then moving on to the next game after that. I'm only on the 9th dungeon, which is, I think it's Klein's Dream for anybody that has played the game, which is like a snowy area. And I just got the 3rd key to this main tower that I'm supposed to go to. And that's part of it, right? Like you're having to unlock different pieces or get different items to unlock another area to progress, which is fine. I can appreciate that for a game, but it's in every single level, right? There's not like I don't know. I'm kind of wanting something more linear right now. And it's not delivering for me right now on that linearity. Whereas, I'm trying to think the other game I played last year, Cardia, right? Very linear. Like story focus was great, right? Super linear. And for me, it was more so the combat that was frustrating in that game that made it kind of like, what the hell am I playing? But the story was phenomenal, right? Whereas this game is like a good story. It's, it's not linear. There's not a ton of save points, and it's just not that great for me. Good game overall, but I would not say that I would go out of my way to play this in the future.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there was that, and then we have continued to play Princess Peach Showtime. So my wife and I just got past the 5th floor, I think, moving on to the 6th floor. I don't know how many floors there are in the game. But that, again, it's kind of, I'm liking it a little bit more than the last time we spoke about it. But it's not like I still can't get past the minigame nature of it, right? Like, some of the platforming is okay, which is cool. Some of the different, like, I think we had a Kung Fu version of Peach today. And it was kind of fun, kicking through things and different walls and finding different hidden objects to kind of progress through in the levels. And it's not complicated stuff, obviously. It's like super straightforward, super easy. So it's a nice kind of sit back, relax, play type of game. I can appreciate that. But as far as like, if I had to give it a rating, I would say it's a pretty low rated game for me in terms of platformer, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. So progressing in that nicely. And then she has her game picked out that we're playing next. I've got my game, which will be Medium on VPS5. So it'll be our next game. And we will actually stream that game and in its entirety on our YouTube channel. So we'll have that up for folks to check it out and watch. We're not going to be talking on it, just straight out streaming. So you can skip content. You're not going to miss anything that we're saying necessarily. There won't be any hilarious humor going throughout. It'll just be straight gameplay.
Not a let's play. Just John playing a game.
Just John playing a game and no audio of John talking about it.
Hopefully getting through it quickly.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Our goal is probably to get like 35,
I just mean
40.
not like
you're
not aimlessly wandering. Like, nobody would want to watch me stream a game without playing because they'd be like, man, this guy's terrible. Where's he going?
Well, it's funny because it's going to be like, in some situations it's going to be my wife playing, and then others it's going to be mine. So you have to use your imagination as to who's playing the game at that point in time, and just take your guesses. Oh, it was John. Oh, it was his wife right here. So, but yeah, that's where we are right now. How about yourself? Pickups?
Pickups. I don't think I picked up anything this week. I've just been still playing Paper Mario. I am almost near the end of the game here. I'm starting the Poshley Heights chapter, and I just did like the optional side quest thing to try to get Miss Mouse. And I just got the like second upgrade thing, the up arrows, so that I can super upgrade my partners. I love this game. I've done this all like so many times. This time I'm doing like full badge power. I've got 10 health. I might take it down to 5 just to start, because like I get all these bonus damage upgrades and dodge chances and stuff with low hit points. So I'm kind of gave myself a little bit of buffer so that I can make a couple mistakes and take a couple hits, but I think I should commit to it. But I'm also running out of like good badges to equip. So I have kind of like a full arsenal to do everything that I think I need to do. So I'm kind of struggling to find new things. So I'm going to just kind of keep tinkering around with the kind of build or whatever that I'm doing and start this Poshley Heights chapter. It's really fun. It's one of my favorites. It's like a murder mystery on a train. That's always such a fun setting, I think. And Paper Mario does it really well. And then I'll be pretty close to the end. I think there's just the Moon chapter after that, and then actually like going through the door. So I should probably have this wrapped up in the next like week or two, depending on how much time I can really give to it.
Not bad.
And then once I get this cleaned up, I'm thinking I should probably, now that it's in the latter half of the year, I should probably just double down and roll straight from Paper Mario on into Bug Fables and just get it done.
For whatever reason, I thought you had it done. I was going to be like, so what you're saying is you need a summer game challenge this year. But it doesn't look like we're going to do that based on the rate of both of our inflation deflations.
Yeah.
We might have to have like a fall game challenge instead.
Fall game. Winter.
Yeah. Winter.
The Winter Olympics this year. We'll do it every 2 years.
Summer Olympics this year.
Well, not in the Game Deflators.
Okay.
We're doing the Winter game deflation, whatever we'll call it. We'll figure out a name for it.
Ryan
We'll do a summer one year. We'll do a winter one the next year.
wouldn't the next season there be fall?
They don't do a fall Olympics.
They don't have to. The Game Deflators does.
We're not doing it quad seasonally.
The Game Deflators Fall Olympics. Video game Olympics would actually be kind of fun, though.
They've got that. The Nintendo
I
World
know.
Championship.
I'm saying for us. Like we picked.
Do they have Olympic games?
They do actually. I think I have.
Oh,
one.
the Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
Well, they have those, yeah, but they do have I think it's Torino had an Olympics game.
Okay.
I don't remember, and Rio I think has one as well. I don't have them, but I don't know if I want to get them either. Even though Olympics is happening next month,
right?
In July it kicks off. So, yeah, no Olympic games. No, we're good. Those are not very good games. But why don't you kick us off into our discussion topic this week?
So this week, Nintendo came in and they were like, hey, PlayStation, hold our beer. Microsoft, you did good out there, but check this out. And Nintendo came out strong with a pretty good Direct. I mean, every Direct is going to have some fluff in it and some stuff that doesn't appeal to everyone. I'm using the IGN list here, but you can always find a full list probably on a million different websites. But we'll just kind of go top to bottom with the way they have it because it's kind of like the more prominent stuff at the top rather than going through chronologically. So, number 1, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom was announced. This is going to be, the second Legend of Zelda game to be starring Zelda as the protagonist playable character. And I have been dying to talk about this. I have a take that I haven't heard anybody else say that I think makes so much sense. So they're doing it in the same style as the Link's Awakening remake. And there was a dungeon editor in that game, and everybody was all like, oh, hey, how about a Zelda Maker, like the Mario Maker series? I think that with the whole gimmick of this game being that Zelda can, in real time create elements of the game world as if it was some type of maker game, I think that they probably put a lot more research into going down that route and ultimately decided, this is a fun thing to be able to make Zelda games, but without being able to make probably crazy interesting bosses and just having to kind of shuffle around all the pieces like with Mario. I think it's probably going to be less rewarding in the long run. So manipulating those mechanics and taking what they learned and making a game out of it, I think that that's probably what happened here, and I think it looks really cool as an approach because they could always make a Zelda Maker game later, but doing it this way first is going to be less of kind of an all into that boat at once.
Yeah, the trailer itself, I thought it looked kind of nice. Something that I think will be appealing to me down the road to pick up, and I know it's a game my wife is going to want to play just based on playing the Link's Awakening. She really enjoyed that one. This one seems right up her alley based on that style of gameplay as well. And she'll be listening to this episode later, and of course we'll say, when does it come out? It's coming out in September. We'll go ahead and grab it at that
2
point.
days before my birthday.
Very nice. So that sounds like a birthday gift for you.
Hell yeah. It looks really fun. I did play the Link's Awakening remake a bit. That was back when I was doing the Gamefly, so I didn't have it for too long before I was like, I'm just not that into it. And send it back. But I do love the art style. I know some people aren't keen on the art style, but whatever. Next up, finally, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Man, that was a wait and a half for this game to come out, but it looks so good. It's going to have a lot of really amazing graphics and performance. The Metroid Prime remake was so incredible, and this trailer and what they showed looked so good that a lot of people online were like, did they just show us Switch 2 footage? And it's
could be.
Well, all the people who definitively Digital Foundry broke it down, and it's definitely performing on Switch hardware, and it even says in the trailer that it's Switch. So it definitively is Switch, but it looks so amazing. It's really going to be the swan song of the system and just have this hopefully even better performance on the sequel console when that comes out.
What Nintendo's hoping for is that your console burns out because it performs at such a high level
right?
that you have to buy the next Switch console. Like, that's just the next natural step.
I can't wait to see this on like the Switch OLED. It's going to look amazing.
So apparently there's a video of some dude that was passing out from the announcement.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm just like, how do you get to that point in your life where like a video game makes you like pass out?
I mean, I don't know, man. This is one of those things. This is one of the announcements we've been waiting so long for. And actually, I'm kind of surprised that we actually got the Metroid announcement and we still haven't seen anything from Silksong. Like, everybody was like, all right, maybe Nintendo will have Silksong.
It's going to be like that game. God, I forget the name of the company, but the one that like it came out and it wasn't what it actually was supposed to be, the zombie one.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what Silksong is going to be like. We think that's what it is. And then when we actually get it, it's Tunic Part 2.
Right. So next up, Mario and Luigi Brothership.
This looks good.
This looks great. I mean, I just played Mario and the Luigi for the first time last year when I went on vacation. I took my Game Boy with me and I played a bunch of Superstar Saga, and it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to try this one out. Next up, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, and the announcement of the 1 and 2 HD 2D remakes to follow.
That got me excited.
I got so excited for these. I have not really done much Dragon Quest stuff. I played the Dragon Warrior Monsters game and Dragon Warrior Monsters Joker, and I played a little bit of, I think it was Dragon Quest 11 had like an 8-hour demo. I think I played like 4 or 5 hours of. But I love the, Akira Toriyama art, which this is going to be, kind of like a whole different rendition with the HD 2D. But these are the legendary, games that made RPGs what they are today. So I'm really excited for those. Next up was Donkey Kong Country Returns. And this one's just so silly. I heard Arlo talking about this in one of his videos recently. So it's like, of the last Donkey Kong games, 3 of them have been this game and 2 of them have been Tropical Freeze.
Yeah, it bugs the hell out of me.
Like, how are they not making new Donkey Kong? Like, he should be like a premier title for them, but it's just like ignored.
It just annoys the hell out of me. And Donkey Kong,
that's your favorite series, right?
Yeah, it's a far better platform than Mario, in my opinion. Like, I've just always enjoyed Donkey Kong a lot more, just with all the different things that are tied to it, right? Like, you have your different creatures that you can ride. To me, like, Country Returns brought in the whole, like, new taking a barrel, shooting it off to a different direction. And, like, it really just kind of took that platforming to, like, that next level that just Mario doesn't seem to ever be able to hit.
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong has hit that, but yet, like you said, they just ignore it for some weird-ass reason. Maybe it's just because it's not as, it doesn't sell as well. Okay. Then why are you releasing Tropical Freeze twice and Returns on 3 different occasions? Like, give us a new Donkey Kong game.
Well, and, it's especially because they're doing like a whole Donkey Kong Land edition, and they're probably going to make a Donkey Kong movie. Hopefully not starring Seth Rogen, I guess.
Yeah, it'll star Seth Rogen, I'm sure. And
that's an established IP now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it sucks.
It's just, we need more DK, and I hope that this is going to be kind of like an introductory to more.
Which you would hope, that's what you would hope, is that they're releasing this in the hope that, okay, let's get some more people on this, and then, Switch 2 comes out, like, really amp up this kind of Returns as a quick cash grab, just to know, like, all right, this is where the series stands. Switch 2 comes out, new Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Next up, Super Mario Party Jamboree. This actually looked pretty good. The last Super Mario Party that came out on the Switch was not that great. This one's going to have like a big 20-player mode and more mini games than any other game and bigger boards. It looks fun. Some returning boards. Western World was always a really fun one.
It's a Jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Next up, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. This is going to have so much stuff. This is one of those games that it's like, I really want this, even though I'm not good at fighting games at all. Like, I was just asking you if you had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because it's such a cool looking fighting game, but I've never been good at fighting games. But like, I would get this just to have it. And also it's got like 7 games in it. So this is one of those classic games that eventually when we do a Switch starter kit showdown, I'll be probably throwing this on there.
Yeah, I'm absolutely dog shit at fighting games, so this isn't one that I'm like looking forward to picking up. I mean, if it's a bargain bin thing down the road, sure, I'll grab a copy and I'll have it on hand. But to go out of my way to buy it just to, full price to have a bunch of fighting games I'm never going to be really good at, not worth it.
A bunch of announcements for the NSO. They're getting Zelda 4 Swords, Metroid, Zero Mission, Perfect Dark, and Turok.
Great titles.
Yeah, they showed Nintendo World Championship. We already knew about that. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting basketball. Who knew? We got to see a little more of Lego Horizon Adventures. We already talked about that, though.
Yep.
Mobile game Fantasian is now being released on Switch. This is interesting. This is by some Final Fantasy people. It's actually supposed to be really good and kind of challenging. So, I mean, anybody who's into not Final Fantasy but still similar, go for it. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. There's going to be a lot of this stuff. They announced that they're going to milk the shit out of the Lord of the Rings franchise. So prepare to see a lot more of this stuff.
You have the Eye of Sauron looking down at you for my case now. So, I mean, talk about milking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the property is going everywhere at this point. But, honestly, though, like, I looked at some video on that. That, to me, is just not a good-looking game. The Tales... It's not something up my alley. Like, if you're looking comparison-wise, Gollum versus a Shire...
Well, and this is purely like a cozy game. From what I was hearing, it doesn't even have like a fail state. Like, you can't even, like, when you're cooking the food, you can't fail at cooking the food.
Yeah.
So it's just a doing stuff as a Hobbit game.
Yeah, which, how is it appealing?
I don't know. I mean, same thing, like there's Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That was another announcement, just kind of... Some of these, like I said, Nintendo's always going to have announcements for games that don't tickle everybody's fancy, but these will be somebody's jam. More content for Disney Illusion Island. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. We've already known about that, but that's coming soon. Funko Fusion. This looks terrible. It looks bad. It doesn't look like it has much going on for it. It's by a bunch of the people who did the Lego games. So, I mean, it makes sense that they would try to pivot to something else like that. But just Funkos have no soul and they're not good things. So this is not a good thing.
You got a Batman Funko staring at you.
I have that Batman Funko.
That's
one of the few Funkos I have.
Yeah, the Joker. I only got that because it was Loot Crate.
Exactly. Loot Crate gave me all the Funkos, and then I got some as presents. Like I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, I've got the who's the bad guy from Die Hard?
I don't know, man.
Hans Gruber. I've got a Hans Gruber Funko. I've got a few Rick and Morty Funkos, and I've got a Lord of the Rings one, or not Lord of the Rings. Winter's Coming. Jon Snow.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's see. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. That looks kind of cool. It's like an interesting tower defense. I've always thought that Metal Slug had amazing art.
Yeah, me too.
So that's definitely... But those games are so like hard and not really my jam generally. This looks like a fun way to be able to experience that. And like the different units look really cool and there's a ton of choice. Darkest Dungeon 2.
Really?
Yeah, Darkest Dungeon was really successful and... this looks like it's going to be really cool. I like the 3D they're bringing in.
That's a long game from what I know. Like the first one at least is super long. So I have it. Just haven't played it.
Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. That looks terrible. Stray is coming to Switch.
Which
people
probably
like
is
Stray.
Except it's going to be on Nintendo Switch, which is probably going to look terrible. In fact, I've already heard that graphically it's already subpar. Like way below what it should be.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to enjoy that game, PS5.
Mio Memories in Orbit, a new Metroidvania. That looks all right. New, what is that? Among Us stuff. Ace Attorney games. Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero. I don't know. That one totally lost me. This is the one that I was looking for.
Phantom Brave, I think, is an old PS2 RPG. And it was on the Wii as well, if I recall.
Yeah, so this is a new one in that series then. Farmiga bring. Have you heard of this one?
No.
Farmiga? Okay, this is like one of those games that's just like, here's all our special nouns. We're going to keep saying them until it doesn't sound weird anymore. They must have said Farmiga like 18 times in that trailer, I swear. But it's like, it's this weird Pokemon farming Pikmin game where like you plant an ear of corn, and then one of the ears of corn looks like a tail, and then you pull that off, and now it's a wolf, and you make like a pack of wolves, and then you fight other monsters with your pack of wolves
to defend your Farmiga.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Like we were talking not too long about like crossing genres and stuff, and this is just one of those ones that's like, I don't know, man. You guys jumped the shark with me here. The 100-line Last Defense Academy, that is by the Danganronpa people, but it's like a strategy game. Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven is getting a full remake. I don't know if you know anything about that. I don't.
No, like I know about the series on that one, but it's not one that I've, had my attention on fully.
Mm-hmm. Not something you've ever dipped into?
No, it's one that I've always wanted to, but I haven't.
Yeah. Well, not too much else there. They had like a fairy tale game, but I mean, not all of these games, like I said before, are going to be for everybody. But, that was the Nintendo Direct. Most people were pretty happy with it, giving it like high B, low A kind of score if you want to go off of that kind of system. But I think it was pretty worthwhile, and I'm excited to see, their output. There was a lot of 2025 marked stuff. So we'll see about, when they announce that next console and what we find out about that.
Yeah, what's interesting is before this Direct even came up, they were like, we're not talking Switch 2. Like they automatically or successor, I guess you should say. So that was kind of nice that they pulled that out, from the get-go and just said, look, don't expect it.
Yeah.
But that would have been the opportunity to do it, right? Like nobody's expecting it, and then you talk about it. Like, well, dude, that would hype people up.
Yeah, but they want to announce it later so that people can like enjoy stuff that's actually coming out for like the regular Switch still a little bit, and plan for their holiday releases and stuff. I mean, it makes sense because like the thing is,
but like when's the right time to announce?
When they show the console, they're gonna have to show a little bit of some game,
which will probably be a number of ports, to be honest, to kick things off. Which is exactly how they did the Switch. It's a little different scenario given that you had the Wii U, and it performed so poorly. So it's like, all right, let's bring some of those games over to the Switch to get those sold. But I think you'll have a situation where it's like being released on Switch and whatever the successor is, right, at the same time. So you're still going to sell those games regardless. It's just one might be on the new console.
Yeah.
And then if there's backwards compatibility, it's another clear part, right? So it's like, and somebody might say, oh, well, why would you sell both if they're going to be backwards compatible? Well, the argument could be PS4 and PS5, right? Like,
yeah.
You have the same games releasing on both consoles simultaneously. Yeah, still. The other thing you didn't note was the Legend of Zelda Switch Lite.
Yeah.
Huge cash grab, man. Like Nintendo knows their audience. Like this is something that just
they know the scalpers.
Yeah, they know
the scalpers are out there.
Scalpers are gonna buy it. They don't give a shit. It's just like, hey, this is a quick buck for us to make a ton of money by selling.
Hit that unit count that they're trying to hit for the.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, let's put out 10,000, 20,000 of this one particular unit because we know we're gonna sell out of it immediately, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I honestly, when you kind of do the whole like PS2 versus Nintendo Switch, like which one sold more, and you kind of look back, because I think Nintendo Switch is going to ultimately outsell the PS2. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
But there were only 2 PS2s.
You had a couple. You had like the silver version that was out there, things like that. I think there's a white version. There's a black one, obviously, the slim, and then you had the old fat model too. But when you kind of put all of it into perspective, like Sony didn't go out there cash grabbing on multiple types of consoles, right? It wasn't.
They didn't expect you to have more than one per house.
That too, right?
But they were also really hitting the DVD player market because, like, for the price of a DVD player back then, you weren't really going too much more above board to just get the PlayStation part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You weren't going too much above that, but you did have a lot of, if you kind of consider families who, okay, cool, PlayStation 2 and a DVD player. Oh, I'm a grandparent now and I need a DVD player in my home for my grandkids. Well, hey, it doubles down as a video game
Yep.
console. So, you do have that, but like, you're right. Not every house is expected to have multiple. I think they're counting Switch Lite into the Switch sales as well,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that to me is kind of like a, hey,
They got
that's
the Switch Lite, the Switch OLED, all the
yeah.
different special editions. I mean, I really wanted that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Switch. I
Yeah.
almost tried getting that back in the day.
So I almost feel like when you look at history and you say, hey, the Switch sold more than the PlayStation 2, I think you got to have an asterisk next to that because there's a lot going on for this console that is leading to those amounts of sales. And,
Yeah.
and look, when you're trying to market a Switch Lite for kids, how many broken Switch Lites have there been out there?
Probably.
Probably quite a lot, right? And so doubling down on your sales tied to that too. Yeah. I mean, I think there's an asterisk next to that at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's dive into some articles. The first one that we have here is from Victoria Kennedy at Eurogamer, and this is Xbox's Matt Booty implies Tango Gameworks closure was partly due to a leadership change. I think this is a complete load of spin. That's all this is. Like, basically, they're saying, hey, when you consider great games that are released, a lot of these games, people leave, right? Leadership leaves. You have like the main director goes. You have some of the supporting staff that were, key to the development of certain games go on to different ventures, and you're left with, a studio that isn't the same, right? Okay, cool. We totally get that. Does it warrant the closure of said studio? Probably not. At the end of the day, like, and how many people left, right? Is it one director? Is it 70% of a staff turned over, went somewhere else, and you hired 70% new people? Like, what's that overall ratio? And like, how do you determine, yep, we're going to close a studio because X amount of people left or this person left, right? I think this is just another excuse to try and, really kind of level out the people that are pissed off at Microsoft for what has occurred so far.
Yeah, it's a poor excuse and it doesn't make any sense. I was reading not this exact article, but another article on this interview yesterday, and they were talking about that Mikami hadn't even been like a director there since the first game that the studio put out. Like, he's been like a lead producer since then. So, I mean, even though he's there in the studio guiding, like, he established this studio as a place to train young talent and bring them up. And I think that amazing things have come out of, nobody can knock Hi-Fi Rush at all. Also, studio heads will move on, but even though we can see like what a Kojima game is, like, he's so integral to his games, like, his studio, if he left, I mean, they're all still perfectly capable of making anybody else's dreams into a reality. Like, if they can follow that man, they can follow any man. So, or woman, or anybody. So, like, AI algorithm probably is the way it's going to be going anyways. So it's like, when just that one person leaves, it shouldn't be the fate of everybody else on the team. And every time that there's been an interview when somebody is trying to bring up the Tango thing, it seems like everybody has a different response. I think it's Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer each had like a different take. Like, they're getting like sidelined by this question, and these people are all media trained. They should be expecting this question in every interview that they're giving, and they just can't tell a focused story that really is a believable expectation or explanation for what we should see in the future from them because of the reasons explained here. Like, it's just out the window. You can't make a successful game and expect to be safe, apparently. And without setting what those rules are or letting anybody know, it really does not create a good environment. And also, we talked, I think a few weeks ago also, about the approach of closing the studio so that you maintain the IP and you don't put out workers to your competitors that are going to drive down your product or be competition, and that could be a very selfish reason for just doing these closures.
Well, and that's all it comes down to, right? Like at this point, like all Microsoft needs to do is just kind of man up to it and say, yep, we closed it because we were cutting costs and we wanted to hold on to the rights of VIP, and letting the team go was the thing that we needed to do, right? Like just come out and say that. Like don't continue to make excuse after excuse after excuse about like why you let these people go. Yeah, and obviously like this is an interesting situation because there are a number of industries out there where there's layoffs and things that happen, and we know it's cost-cutting reasons.
Yeah.
Like we know that's what it is. So I don't see why this is something that they're just trying to avoid. Is it because they feel they're going to piss off gamers? Like,
we're already pissed. There's already so many layoffs.
They're already angry, so it doesn't make a big deal to just kind of come out and admit it. But it is what it is. Those developers and programmers will find new roles and they'll excel in those areas. So
next up, we've got a rumor. Sony may be working on native PS3 backwards compatibility. This comes from Ediz Gunner at Game Rant. This is one of those things that people have been waiting for quite some time. The way that the PS3 is set up, it makes it really hard to just move PS3 stuff over to other things. That's what I've been told online by people. I don't understand the ins and outs of it myself very much. I am a very lightweight pirate. I need it in the easiest sense, but this is going to be really good moving forward. Emulation and streaming for PS3 are, something that need to be more ubiquitous. These titles need to have more access, and to be able to just play it natively on the system without having to have the always on connection or rely on, whatever might be hampering your signal at the time and disrupting your play session. This would be really good for them. They've been trying really hard with their PlayStation Plus catalog to put out a bunch of titles. A lot of the times that they're reaching back into the past, they're grabbing re-releases or HD ports or, whatever from more modern consoles and putting that PS4 version out and just saying, oh, look at this PS2 game. We put Crash out. No, that's a PS4 remake of Crash. That's not the real Crash from PS1, although I'm sure that's probably on there. I'm just grabbing an example. But so many games from that console generation are just inaccessible to most people, and getting this finally slotted in so that moving forward, it's just kind of more protected titles for preservation and more library for their list. I mean, you got to think, if eventually we do go away from, a numbered PlayStation box sitting in your house and everything goes kind of all digital, access to these types of titles is really what's going to be like a big driver as we're waiting 8 years in between game releases.
Yeah, for me, I honestly don't care about backwards compatibility of PS3 being
You already
native.
own all the games you want.
Yeah, I already own them all, and the ones that I want at least. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some more out there that I should be able to grab, but for the most part, I want more access to PS2 stuff on things like this, right? Like popping a disc and playing my PlayStation 2 games downstairs, not to worry about my PS2, right? Like that's what I want is PlayStation 2, because right now I've got a PS3 that I can play PS1 games on, right? And I can play PS3 games on there as well, and I can play PS4 and PS5 on one console downstairs too. The 2 is the one that's the gap for me, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend money on it. Like PS2 is the collection I have the most of in my collection. So I don't want to go ahead and pay for whatever service Sony has to access PS2 games that I already own, right? I don't want to continue having to pay for that. I'd rather just pop in a disc.
The way they have modding scenes and stuff now where you can buy a physical, the Super Game Boy, where it's it plays Super Nintendo games, but it looks like a big handheld console.
Yeah, Super Boy.
So in 20 years, are we going to get the Dream, the box that has a laser that can read any disc? And it's made by some third-party company with a weird name. It's just a serial number, and the controllers are kind of janky, but it'll play literally anything.
You kind of have that. When Darren of 32-Bit Library was on, he was telling me about a console forget the name offhand, but I've got it saved on my phone. That plays not PS2, but it has PS1 and like Saturn and 3DO and all these other game consoles, Turbo Graphics on there. Or Turbo Duo, I should say, or Turbo CD. Jeez, I'm mixing them all up. But it plays disc.
Some kind of turbo.
You basically put in like discs and
put disc in,
and it copies it to the system itself. Though.
Okay.
And so then you don't have to have it. You have a burned copy on there. So pretty cool console. But yeah, so if you could have that for PS2, I'm cool with that too. I don't have to play it on PlayStation. I just want to have easier access to those games.
Yeah.
Because the setup right now. I don't want to hang it upstairs and play PS2 games on that couch. Like, I just don't. So as nice as it is to have that game console set up upstairs, I'd rather just kind of sit on my couch, have access to my kitchen and all that, and not have to go up and down stairs whenever I need something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into our inflation deflation of the week. This week we played a little bit of Dead Cells on the PlayStation 4. So this game was developed by Motion Twin and Evil Empire. It was published by Motion Twin and Playdigious. It was directed by Brad Fay Jr. and Barbara Johanoff, right? Johanoff is
something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it, unless Ryan has a spelling error. It was released in August of 2018, and it is a roguelike Metroidvania game. Overall reception to be around a 9 out of 10.
So, you're a prisoner. You're this like weird head blob thing, and you take over this body, and then you just try to escape the prison. And the story, I mean, I was reading a little bit on the wiki. It goes to, like, oh, there was this like malaise that set over the land, and there's this evil king, and then eventually, once you're good enough at Dead Cells, you get all the way through and you beat the king, and then there's a bunch of crossover DLC and all kinds of cool stuff. It's really good. I mean, it's really one of those games that's about the flow state and the feeling. Like, you really like get into it with like dropping down platforms and just smashing in doors and all of the moves and everything. It's just such a like snappy, responsive, really tight feeling Metroid kind of game that you don't have to like, it doesn't have you gotta switch to your beam, shoot the right door, backtrack to get the thing. This is a blaze through its speed run, kind of just like feel the fun kind of game. And I played a lot of it, or not a lot of it. I played a bit of it on Xbox because it's on Game Pass. We played it on PS4 today. I always think that it looks really good. I like the effects, especially when it has like kind of like the electricity and stuff like that. I always think is really cool looking. It wasn't the most grab me roguelike that I've ever played. Like, it's definitely one of the ones that I've dropped the soonest, I think. But I still gave it probably like a good 10 or 12 hours, I think.
These games for me are not really my cup of tea in general, just because I'm not a fan of progress through however long and then like
you don't want to lose all your progress.
Yeah, and like that's what's kind of holding me back from playing Returnal again right now is like that component, right? The difficulty of it. Now, this game I didn't feel was super difficult.
You had a pretty good build. You had a lot of like leech and recovery and stuff, and you were definitely like able to kind of make a comeback a few times that I thought you were going to die.
Yeah, and then of course I finally got to the boss battle at the end, and it was just more so the lack of dodging and things of that nature that I just, wasn't really doing a whole lot of because I had all the leech stuff anyway, so I didn't have to worry about getting hit. And the boss just absolutely demolished me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not really, I like the speed of a game, right? I thought it was a fun game. It's just not the type of game I go out of my way to play.
Yeah.
Nor the type of game that I will sit back and say, all right, cool. Like, let's run through this. Let's sit back and let's, blaze through several hours in a day. Okay, cool. I didn't beat the game in one run, but like, I'll get it tomorrow. Like, it's just not my thing, dude. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Kind of the same thing with old school platformers. It's one of the reasons I don't play a lot of old school games anymore, because a lot of them are like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to call it a roguelike because you're like, okay, yeah, it's a platformer.
It's a platformer. You get 5 lives, and then it becomes a roguelike.
Yeah, exactly. It's like once you finish your 5 lives, you're done. Like,
now it's a roguelike. It's an eventual roguelike.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's how it is for me at those games. And generally, those games are like you get better at the platforming and you kind of learn the area and you progress through. But I mean, an argument could be made. It's the same deal for roguelite. The only thing is that sometimes, depending on the game, stages change. You don't have the same items in the same build every single go around. So sometimes you're better off than you were in the prior build or prior run. So yeah, I mean that's kind of a big thing. Whereas, as I said, platformers, old school games, you know what to expect. You get good and you progress and win. But either way, so in general, I think you explained it really well. I thought it was pretty fun. Overall, just not something I go to.
Brass tacks.
Yeah, brass tacks. So complete in box, 1572, peaked at 2339 February of 2019, trending down. Loose copy 1514, peaked at 2138 back in December of 18, also trending down. Digital consoles $24.99 on PlayStation Store and Game Pass.
Well, it's on Game Pass, so it's Game Pass.
That's true. So $24.99 now, but it's 50% off on Steam at this point in time if you really want to pick it up for that. And then GameStop has it for $17.99 used. So a lot of places you could buy this game.
Yeah, I'm curious. This doesn't seem like something you would pick up. Did you get this in like the Great Pickup or something and just hang on to it?
No, GameStop had like one of those
buy whatever, get
4
whatever
for 20 type deals, whatever it was. And at the time it was probably $10. I don't know. We'd have to look at the tag, but it was that or probably like a buy 2 get 1 free situation. And I just didn't see another game I wanted, and I just grabbed this one.
Grab it.
That's honestly some of those games when you look at it and you're like, why is this in your collection? Or, hey, you normally don't play this. It's usually because I got some
fill
I filled a spot in a deal just to get something.
I mean, you got more than your money's worth if it's $15 still.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's held. And I've had that game for probably a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, this game came out in 2018. This is like one of those big indie games that really hit and exploded, and now everybody kind of knows it. I definitely say you're going to get $15 worth of fun out of this game, but with it being like frequently on sale, probably best to just go for that physical for $15 because usually it's going to charge you $30 to get it online. The only exception I would say is that like this isn't a game that like I feel like you need to really worry about going away. Like this game's going to be around, so you can get like all the DLC and the main game bundled on Steam right now, I think for like $25 or something. So that's probably the best way to buy this.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like if this is something you just want to kind of give it a shot and, just play it, I think right now the price is just right. $17 at GameStop, wait for a sale, or find it for $15. I think the price is just right. I mean, it's got the right amount of content to continue getting somebody that's into these games, getting them to continue playing, right? So I think you're going to get your money's worth, as you said. I wouldn't go any higher, though. I think just right.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, so speaking of games that you can get your money's worth, we are going to be playing Gollum next week. And that game...
Yeah, I'll throw my 2 cents in.
Yeah, right? So that game fluctuates anywhere from like $5 to $10. I've seen it, honestly. So we'll play that and we'll see, if it's worth $5 to $10 or if it's worth, using it as a coaster. That's going to be episode 293. But this has been episode 292. And my name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.